I thought Safe was actually really solid.
Canadian Ken.
Yo, man, he was eating maple syrup, all right? He was ready. My man was drizzling all over everybody with it, all right? Because I'm going to be honest.
Pause.
Nah, I'm not pausing on this. I'm not pausing on this. My man was going ham out there.
2XKO is the name of the game. Could have, like, League of Legends not being attached, I feel, is a misstep. They can't be not self-aware enough to know that when your customer base kind of has a, as much as you pay people to kind of figure this stuff out, like Greg, how they said that they're definitely invested in this. There's no way they're not also ignoring the backlash from it either. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to Double Tap. This is Mash Those Buttons podcast dedicated to the FGC. I am, of course, your host, Crash. And with me, I have got a full roster of homies to take us through the journey of this week's episode. We got Meza in the building. He is back.
Oh, sir. I'm excited.
I was like, that's the cue. That's the cue. There you go.
I'm
cool.
excited. Hey, that's all I can say.
Not like we haven't been doing this for 362 episodes. All good. And we've got Static Gorilla as well in the building.
Hi.
The energy not excited.
Is gone today. The weekend has ended and my Monday's off. I have no energy.
You know what? I'll give you credit on that one. It was kind of a wild weekend, especially for those that had to stay up to watch what went down, which we'll talk about in a second. But we do have also our voices in our head, which may or may not be popping in later on the show. We don't know. We'll see. But Jai's also in the building, always watching, always checking out if our levels are right. He might be joining us later. But welcome, guys, to another episode of Double Tap. This is a podcast dedicated to everything and anything in the fighting game community. This is episode 362, being recorded on the 26th of February 2024. That means that we just finished up with some Capcom Cup X madness that went on for the past week. We did talk about it in the last episode, but we actually got to go through the rest of the group stages and all. We'll get into that, as well as some patch notes that we're gonna, patch plans that we have coming up with Ed, who is actually going to be coming out tomorrow, and projectl now identifies as a few new letters. We'll jump into that as well. But hey, real quick, if you guys are looking to jump into any specific topic throughout this whole show, make sure to check out the timestamps on YouTube and on Spotify, as well as any podcast that actually supports Podcasting 2.0, just in case you're looking for a very specific matchup here. But with the intros out the way, we've got some other house cleaning items to get into, and that is, of course, the question of the week, or rather last week's question of the week that we had posted up, and some polls. So let's jump into the poll. The poll is actually a pretty straightforward one. I want to hear from you guys, though. So I asked last week. This kind of just came off as a rather would you rather kind of question, which was, would you rather be able to block any mix-up? This means in any game whatsoever, whatever you're playing, or would you rather never drop a combo? We're talking consistency across the board. We're talking damage maximized and optimized in all situations. What do you think the results are, guys? Gentlemen, what do you guys think?
I think people suck at hitting combos, so they would love to just be able to hit combos. Because any confirm can turn into it.
I might put myself in that camp every once in a while. What about you, Static?
Combos can always drop, and combos can always, doesn't always have to be about combos. So mix-ups is for me. Blocking mix-up.
Okay, so we're in 50-50 here. So you like defense? I mean, you're a Marvel player. Of course you gotta love defense, right? Mm-hmm. It's the name of the game, baby. So we're in 50-50 here, not including myself. I'm gonna keep it Switzerland. I'm gonna be unbiased here, straight neutral. But we've got 65% going for block any mix-up. So I guess people do like a better defense over their combos. I mean, kind of makes a little bit of sense there, right? Like, what? Yeah, I'm not worried too much about my combos if my opponent can't open me up. But still, for that 35%, I think they kind of see the value in every jab, every possible random, throwaway crouching medium kick or something that might hit at max range. You're never dropping it. You're gonna continue on. You're gonna get the damage. You're gonna cash out at every point. I don't know. Might outweigh the consistent blocking defense there. If you can be consistent at killing your opponent too.
I don't know. It said mix up, not throws. So you're getting thrown every time. I don't care.
Ooh,
just saying. So I'd rather always hit a combo.
That's a technicality. I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about that.
Be better at neutral. You're gonna lose a neutral anyway, so you're just trying to block mix-ups. What if it's a game that's all about neutral and throws? You worthless.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. Well, I didn't think about that one. Meza just kind of came out the left field with that. That's actually a pretty dope idea. But hey, the listeners have chosen. They'd rather have a good defense overall. All right. So with that, we've got, of course, our question of the week that we have to check out, which kind of correlated a bit with Capcom Cup X. We kind of have some discussions over like the format and such. We asked you guys if you prefer basically storylines. Do you prioritize storylines in when it comes to like tournament play, or do you prioritize competitive fairness? We've got some answers from our Discord, which make sure to stick around to hear how you guys can join that. So we got one from Dots the Omen stating, personally, I like the storylines, given the underrepresented regions a chance to make a name for themselves or their region is great. We get to see the best players compete versus each other throughout the year in multiple majors and invitationals. However, not every region can travel to these. Regardless of who is given the opportunity to attend Capcom Cup, we will see the best players play versus each other. That's a damn good point, and I'm actually going to probably follow up on that when we kind of get into our Capcom Cup discussions, especially with one of the players that I was the most kind of hyped for, to be honest. But also they ended up, the players ended up winning in itself kind of falls for that. And we got another one from Sencho saying, I think storylines will naturally form no matter what a bracket looks like. The fairness of competitive play is a funny one now because people apparently don't even consider literal RNG fair. Probably talking about the way they pick the groups for the Capcom Cup X with the whole lotto pick, as seen with the drama surrounding Capcom Cup groups. The whole best players versus players from all regions thing is also freaking dumb to me. We want events like Evo and all that, which cater to the formal, and then Capcom Cup, which caters to the latter. But for some reason, people can't be happy with that and dump their nonsense all over Twitter. I love having both, and I think at the end of the day, the best player has to come out on top anyways. I mean, true. You could always have that discussion, right? No matter who ends up winning, someone's always going to have that opposite opinion, right? Like, it's not just like tied to just like fighting games. Like, if you'd say, think of anything else like boxing, right? Could Prime Muhammad Ali actually take on like Mike Tyson or Joe Frazier or whatever, right? There's always those discussions as who is the best as it goes on. But it's all because, maybe they have a favorite. Maybe there's just at the time, those boxers or maybe those players played a certain way that kind of best suited at the time. So there's always going to be that discussion, even if the data shows that they are the current champions. So there will always be that opinion of it. But as long as I think we keep a level competitive field, I think naturally those storylines will happen. Maybe not as often, but hey,
I always felt like we've seen that
happen. We can't have best of both worlds, but we can at least try.
I've always felt like we've seen that happen just over the course of years. Like, look at Smug and Sanford. That was never like, something that was kind of like set up. It kind of just happened. So, and it was just, we had a good, playing field for it. It was fair play. It was like those people had a place to show up. So I always think that's kind of the biggest element. And I mean, that kind of happened a little bit with Capcom Cup as well. So, of course, we'll talk about that a little bit more too.
For sure.
Before you guys go, like, I think one thing that really needs to be expressed here is that the question was about what holds greater value for you as a spectator, right? Not necessarily just as a competitor, right? Because I think when you deal with competitive games or even sports, everybody wants it to be fair. If you cared more about storylines, you'd watch wrestling, not the NFL.
I think Static can give a big vouch for that one.
Yeah, that's where the question, that's where the core of the question is. As a spectator, what holds more value for you? I think we all want to see fairness in our competition, but at the same time, like, something could be really, really fair and then boring at the same time. I don't think Capcom Cup turned out boring, but if you get all the killers and if they keep doing the groups based on just straight up RNG, there is a chance that every single good player ends up in the same group, and then it can kind of get boring if the best players knock themselves out and early in the groups, and then you got a bunch of you just see them like beating up on kids at that point for the rest of the tournament. So,
which is what I prop Capcom Cup's decision on the format ever since they've implemented it, which was having representation of like each possible region in different groups. So because they're trying to encompass the idea of the World Warrior, right? Like which regions are kind of like showing up So that way you don't have things like those team kills, that unfairness of like getting the NLBC Classic in main tournament, like kind of was a bit of a robbery at times, right? When you would see, because you would see these guys play on a weekly basis, you could literally tell like, okay, well this, IDOM is just slapping up everybody, easy, no problem throughout the week. And then you see maybe the same person he just played against last week in LBC playing a major, and you're expecting IDOM to win because you've already seen this a million times, right? And it's like, well, where's the storyline? But then when that said player that has a lower record against them ends up winning at a major, now we're in storyline territory, right? Which is pretty enticing, but that's what Capcom Cup's like format tend to try to, I guess, avoid, which is what I dig about it, because I guess that's on the spectator side, right? That is fun to watch. You don't want to just see a bunch of, you didn't want it that one group was just going to be just the Japanese players playing against each other, right? Like people wanted representation everywhere to actually be able to watch, because maybe there's different regions they're rooting for. Maybe they just want to see that there's a chance to see if these players really are as good as they are. They're actually being pinned up against other incredible players that maybe they just don't have the ability to actually play on a regular basis, right?
Just bringing attention to that makes sense. What Josh said is just Street Fighter League, Street Fighter League Japan. That's kind of what, if you want to see the same players over and over, it's kind of like spectator wise, I think that would get boring. And then, Capcom Cup, more exciting, right? So, because there was more storylines being built as it went on. So I may have said otherwise because I was thinking from a competitive standpoint. Yeah, I would say storylines. If I look at anything else I watch, probably look for storylines more.
For sure. All right, so long story longer on that question of the week. We appreciate everybody that submitted for it. We will have another one this week, quote unquote, hopefully, if I get something together in time. But regardless, let's get into actually the news, man, or rather what we want to talk about this week, which if you haven't picked up on it, you haven't picked up what we're throwing down, which is Capcom Cup. Capcom Cup 10 has occurred. Someone has become a millionaire before taxes, maybe after conversion. I think they pretty much are a millionaire. But remember, kids, if you ever do win any kind of fighting game money, big money, you should keep some for taxes. All right. I did not know about Dude's situation until I heard about it from this event. I don't know if you heard about that joke where he didn't pay taxes on his previous Capcom Cup earnings. Yeah. That's a lesson that the whole. That's a matchup you never want to deal with, which is the IRS.
No. I just thought it was a meme that he did. I didn't know he actually had issues. Anyway.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a couple of days. And I think for me, I focused really on day 3. On day 3 of the group stages was kind of like the big one that I was able to really sit down and watch live and kind of continue to follow along. And I don't know if it was going on completely on day 1 or day 2, but day 3 was, for one, I was lucky enough that was the group F stage as well, which that was the killer group, right?
All groups were all days, so you're fine.
Oh, they were all days. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they were all days. But Group F was like finishing up. Like this was the final day to actually see who was qualifying out of each group is what it was.
Yeah, and you had gatekeepers, all of that. Like, at the end.
Man.
So like I was watching since Thursday and the LCQ, of course, last week. Of course, Pablo Max won that. It made it into group. I want to say the last group with Dual Kevin. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, group H. Sorry, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And well, group F was the death one. It was Kaba, Mena, Ending Walker, and the dark horse, Lashar.
And well, I was just saying Angry Bird was also on that pool.
Yep.
Angry Bird as well. Yeah.
Angry Bird was in there.
Winner,
yes.
right?
Lashar as well.
Previous Capcom Cup winner, so it was Ending Walker to start off the week with just Ending Walker and Mena was crazy. I don't know if you saw that clip that High Fight posted, and it was I didn't even see all the hype. I just saw that people were talking about that match. So like early in the morning, I woke up and watched it, and I was like, geez, I'm glad I wasn't spoiled with that ending, because man, it was crazy. It was to the wire. A lot of those big hyped up matches were actually hyped up into the wire. It was cool.
For sure. I mean, that group was really good, but I'm just trying to point out some of the standouts because I was like trying to take notes the entire time.
There's a lot of matches.
There was so many good matches. I mean, I want to put it out there right now. Problem X, his Lily is very, very fucking scary. I already knew Problem X had a Lily before because of things like their first attends that they do in the EU and all that, like sets. He's been on there a couple times. His Lily was gross. I didn't think he would go back to her at any point, but he did, and proceeded to just lay down.
At that point, he wasn't going to be qualifying into the top 16, so he figured, why not just swirl people around?
Yeah, why not? That was entertaining. So I was like, that was still a good look. You know what character for me though was a big show out was fucking Chun-Li.
Yeah,
like Chunners was already like kind of secret good, and Static will say no because Static plays Chun-Li. No, she's not that good. He doesn't want nobody to know.
No,
even if he says it's different right now, he's lying.
From the get-go, I said, I have a tweet I can find that I said her damage output is stupid. And nobody nobody agreed.
How'd that go again?
Yeah, you know.
I still don't think her damage output is as good, okay, compared to most of the, I'm saying it. She has to do like 60 more hits.
She has like 400 overheads. Like, come on. She can mix you up. She can do stuff into the stream. Hold up. She can do stuff into whatever Serenity stream and then mix it into Fierce and then start from Drive Rush into that and then have extra combos that just automatically safe jump. She's stupid.
She still didn't win Capcom Cup.
She does have some good stuff. Well, players like Travis Styles got to show her off in very clutch moments that we're talking about over in Group H. Travis Styles, who was looking really good in the beginning, unfortunately did not make it at the end. Mr. Duck Lips, if you guys don't know who I'm talking about there. He had a really clutch match. Unfortunately did not make it. He was looking really good in the beginning, but he still made Chun-Li look really good. Not the only one either. The biggest standout for me was Lashar.
Yep.
Lashar. No N.
Lashar.
Yeah. Surviving the death group with Mena RD in the loser side. Lashar actually made it in the winner side. But Lashar's match though against Angry Bird, off the fucking rip. Someone who I was not expecting. I had heard the name already, but you know, it just didn't like really. It didn't click for me as to like what they were doing, and they just had an amazing match. And once again, beating Angry Bird, and I think that was, I want to say that was the 2-0. I'm pretty sure Angry Bird didn't actually get a match off on him, which was the big surprising moment. Like, wow, and we're talking Marissa here too, like Miss Damage. You were just talking about that earlier, but. Yeah, Lashar's like Chun-Li just being disgusting. And not stopping there, too. Obviously, moving on winners from that Group F.
Angry Birds Ken.
Yeah.
Oh, Ken, sorry.
Big Bird
Angry Bird.
Yeah, Ken, thank you.
He beat Angry Bird 2-1 and beat Ending Walker 2-0.
Yes.
And beat Mena 2-0.
And Mena 2-0.
And
yep, he's the one that actually
actually lost to Kaba 2-0 and beat Nero the Boxer 2-0. It was Nero the Boxer who destroyed, I think, Kaba as well. Like crazy. That DJ player.
Oh, that was Kaba, one. But then
2-0 on day 2.
I wanted to put that on there too. Kaba versus Mena, and Mena counter picking off the rip with JP. Just like, yeah, I'm just gonna counter pick against Guile right now. Like there was no. Would you guys do it right now? $1 million opportunity. We're all in the same group. Are we counter picking?
I already have
each
a
other?
counter pick. Yeah. 100%.
What kind of question is that?
100%.
Yes.
I don't like you.
Listen, I just want to see where the loyalty was.
I don't like you.
Fuck y'all then.
We're one of us is making it out of pool. You better be ready.
Listen. One of us is making it out, right? It's like, yes, I'm gonna cut. Well, I mean, the decision is to say yes. I just wanted to hear if there was any idiot here that's gonna say no. It's like, listen, I'll counter pick you. I'll give you 100,000 afterwards, and we'll be cool. It's fine. It's fine.
No, you better make it out of pools with me.
It's cool.
I have 1 million reasons.
Oh, you have 1 million reasons to counter pick?
Yes.
Okay, that's a smart move. I was just surprised, a little bit surprised that they didn't try to make a scene out of it. Not to make it a scene, but they didn't make it a spectacle. It was just like, yo, JP, he didn't do like a one match throwaway, right? Like, oh, Blanca versus Guile, right? Play that, or maybe even Luke if you wanted to play serious. But because they play that so often, so I guess he was just like, oh, no, I'm just going to do JP off the rip and see how it goes, and it turned out being like a 2-0. So he just straight counter picked this boy, and was just like, yeah, we're gonna continue on. You know what? That's fine. Yeah, we can cry about it later. Just wipe the tears with the $100 bills. Be like, I'm so sorry, bro. It's all good. It's all good. Let me get that for you. It's fine. It's not personal.
I'm sure he'll take him to a nice lunch. He'll take him to a very nice lunch.
Exactly. Like, are you still gonna be mad afterwards? Come on. I paid for everything. What we're gonna take though, real quick before we jump in, because we're gonna go and check out actually also the Street Fighter Finals and the Street Fighter League Finals and the Capcom Cup Grand Finals, is this ad break. So we'll be right back after this, guys. Don't go nowhere. We got some more Capcom Cup X action to get into. Stay tuned. And we're back. All right, so we're just wrapping up some of the group play talks. I mean, we didn't hit every single group, but I mean, everyone that made it through their groups.
Can we just state one thing? There was only two people to 5-0 their groups, and that was Jian and Chris Wong. That's insane, might add, for how stacked the pools were.
I thought Phenom did, but he lost to.
He was stacked on day one. Day one he was 3. He was 4. Day one he was 4, or day 2 he's 4-0.
Lost the crossover.
All right, so group stages went down. They had a little bit of a break if you weren't involved in, of course, Street Fighter League. Street Fighter League Finals were also being shown off, where we had several different teams to go off in a round robin to compete to see who was the best. This obviously went on throughout the season. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Not really. I don't know what it is about Street Fighter League. I like the idea, but it's not enough for me to be invested into watching. So it's for those. It's a 3v3. Is it 3 or is it 4? See, this is how I know I definitely don't be listening too much. I think it's 4. Yeah. So it's 4 players representing a specific team, and you're just going through an entire season, and it's mostly pre-recorded. It's done very early on, and they kind of set the precedents. There's a EU one, there's the Japan, and then of course there's the NA one. It goes on all year. I tend to forget. I don't know if it's like a pre-recorded thing, because maybe it's like I'm used to watching like live streams all the time when it comes to majors, and I don't know if it's a scheduling thing. I don't know if the format doesn't do it for me, but like it just hasn't grasped me yet. And I like the idea of like team-based tournaments. Maybe it's because it's like the idea is like it's just these pre-selected groups, and it's like, some of them, they're great. They're all great, right? They're all incredible players, but I'm like, I don't know what it is about it that doesn't like pull me in. It might be because, you're looking at other events like Capcom Cup and like Evo, or even other majors, like they stack up. Like, I don't know about y'all, but like, have you ever heard of anyone like in tournament, like you've been out at other tournaments and been like, yo, that player is really good. It's like, oh, is it because he won an event? It's like, oh no, because he's on Street Fighter League. Like, don't get me wrong, it's invitational stuff, but like, I don't know why it just doesn't hold weight to me.
It's
like,
because
I don't understand why the actual program itself just doesn't.
I think honestly, Street Fighter League is a great idea. I do agree it is. I think that the format was a little wild in the beginning with the whole picks and bans, and they kind of kept it in Japan for a while.
Right, they did do that,
and I think that picks and bans was a big turnoff. But I think the biggest thing is they should stop using Street Fighter League primarily for the top players, because we already have kind of Capcom Cup for that. Maybe make the Street Fighter League more for up and coming players or new players, which would kind of excite people, and make it away from Capcom Cup so it happens before it. Because if we're in the middle of Capcom Cup, like this year, we're in the middle of Capcom Cup, just like last year, I had no interest to watch Street Fighter League, because I'm watching Capcom Cup, which is way more exciting because it's in the moment. These players are pretty much either handpicked through, majors, or, they won their way there, or they're
the qualifiers and such.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, why would I want to watch people play each other? And it is pre-recorded. To me, it's like watching League of Legends. It can be great, right? Because even though those are live, it can be great. But I feel like it's the same players over and over and over. Doesn't matter if you mix match the team. I think they need to get just all brand new players that are up and comers to help build that league again.
I don't know. I would actually disagree a little bit, because when it comes to pros, the matches move faster. When it's maybe up and comers, it might not move as fast. And already it's a slog fest when you got 4v4. There's so many matches. Are you looking through? Do you know the score format? I'm thinking of casually. And I was watching it and I was just like, oh, okay. And then my brother came in, so I had it on in the background. I was lurking and I'm sitting here, and then I look back, I'm like, oh, it's over. Jeez.
What if they got like one top player to kind of coach instead of being, and they're quote unquote the fourth man, and the other 3 players. The reason why I'm saying this is because it's all pre-recorded anyway. They could cut as much as they want.
Not on Saturday though.
Oh no, obviously not.
Yeah, like
obviously.
it's live on finals.
Yeah, but they have a whole day, so who cares, right? That's what this is for. That's what I'm saying. Don't run it during Capcom Cup. Run it during another weekend. That's before it because it's building up excitement to Capcom Cup.
They already expected Ice to be staying there for a while, but I don't think they expected so many people to skip on it.
Well, let me say it this way. Yeah. I'm looking at the future. I'm not looking at now because clearly.
All right, Colleen.
I'm just saying. I was planning on skipping Street Fighter League because I didn't watch any of it throughout the year. So, yeah. Just saying.
So yeah. So like, I actually kind of like the idea, Meza, of like using it almost like trying to be like a feeder system. That would be great actually to use it more. Maybe like, if you kept it more open, that like. You already do your qualifiers for Capcom Cup itself, and why don't you just like tie it with a Street Fighter League qualifier? So like now you have players. I don't know if they necessarily have to be in the team. Well, not in a team. They should like be in like maybe regions, and then you're like highlighting those other players as well, those that haven't been in Street Fighter League before, to kind of be like, listen, if you're already involved, like you can't enter. So that way it just leaves the door open for more players, more talent, to actually be recognized and such, and then could still lead to like Capcom Cup, but Capcom Cup with like these up and comers, right? Like it makes a healthy ecosystem that way competitively.
I think it's different when it's sort of an exhibition of like US versus, and then it was US versus different regions.
Yeah, it was US versus
again,
Japan. Yeah,
it's like, is there another theme maybe with because US used to had Mena RD. I'm like, is he repping where apparently he's living in Boston, or is he repping DR? Like I don't. Maybe there's like a slight disconnect. Like you'd expect like Kaba and Mena on a team with DR dudes, or anything else around. So I don't know. Maybe it's more of a team theme. Like for me, I'd rather prefer an exhibition. I don't know.
Yeah,
what the hell?
Yeah, Shanghai and Christie.
So I prefer.
Team. Yeah,
I prefer like what we had. This is me showing my age. Seasons beatings of like US versus the world. I know it's like Gamer B, Daigos versus like Art and whoever else was on that team. I just remember the Crouch Fierce super into Fireball from far away. So
classic.
Those are like typical like exhibition matches that you're looking forward to. But when it comes to teams, it's just like, is it 2 out of 3? I don't recall. Or each match is 2 out of 3? Because that could also slow it down too.
Bro, I can't even remember what the format is because it's just over for me. Like I think it might even be too long. I think you have to do like up to a certain knockout. Like you just literally can't win as many points as you need or something like that. I think it's a little convoluted for me. But
I'll challenge us real quick. I'll challenge us to next season to try to watch Street Fighter League, even if it's together or separately. See if we can get through some of it. Right? Maybe that might be something worth.
All right.
Why would you do that?
We'll check it out.
If you know you don't like it, why would you do that?
I mean,
why would you do that?
Just to try it out, I guess.
I mean, we got to give it another shot, right? It might be more.
I think it's a good idea to support FGC content, period. The more support you show for FGC content, the more people, like the more like brands and companies like Capcom will pay attention to it, right? So, okay, I think that it's fine, but like, you
just don't torture yourselves.
Well, I will say this. I think Meza's idea, I like the way Meza's idea sounds, but that screams community project to me.
Yes.
Not something that Capcom would do. Because Capcom is going to want the biggest players to play all the time, because that's what's going to draw the eyeballs. If you look at any other like esports league that has this like kind of feeder system that you were talking about, like they have these sub leagues and things like that, you do get people who watch those other sub leagues, but not as much as they do the main league. And that's kind of like what Capcom Cup is. I do think if you take kind of like what Gabe was talking about with, making it more of maybe an international system versus a team system, I think that draws eyeballs. That makes it more interesting. If the team was for DR, or if the team was for the United States, or if the team was for Japan, I think that makes it more interesting. More people
like watch. Representing a region.
So it was, So the round robin matches, it says, there were grand finals and round robin matches. I see the results here. It says finals format. The 3 teams will play round robin format of 2 first to 3 sets worth 10 points each. Confusing. And 1 first to 5 set worth 20 points each. Even more. And an extra first to 1 set worth 5 in case of a tie. Go on.
Yeah, bro. I am not trying. I'm already doing frame math in my head. I'm not trying to worry about goddamn points as well. Like,
and the top 2 placing teams will then face off in a final set where the top 2 placing teams will fight in a finals format.
First to 70.
Where the first team to reach 70 points wins the whole event.
What are we playing? Darts?
Yeah.
Right. I did see at the corner of my eye, Ryusei was there. Ryusei is one of my favorite players. Former Evo champion in Grand Blue, a Urian player, and now playing JP. And he played Carl Clover at that time in Grand Blue, in Blaze Blue, excuse me. And he's cool. One of my favorite players. He's like surprised every time he wins. He's like, "Whoa, I did it!" That was great.
So besides Static over here fangirling, the format was, I don't know. Yeah, even just reading that, I'm already, you know what, Mez? I know you say you challenged. I'm gonna just say challenge fail. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, man. Once you said the whole dart system, I'm okay.
Unless they do some wild shit like, yeah, you got to play this set over this tank of sharks. I'll be like, oh my God, I got to fucking
like when they did the heat room for the one event. Where they did the heat room, although I thought they should have did something else other than the heat room, like electricity or something like that. You know, you get a little bit of shock every time you make a mistake.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But like, or your opponent hits you, you get a little shock. I don't know.
Sign them waivers, have that insurance. Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a little stale, and I maybe after hearing the dart system that they have going on, like for points. Look, I just want to say I feel like I don't know enough. I don't know enough at this point in time, right, to say if it's good or bad, and I don't want to put it down that road of like kick the can and just hope somebody picks it up and wants to like take a look at it. No, I think it's where it's at, and I would love to just maybe I'll do it. I'll sit and watch and be upset.
We'll see.
Yeah, you'll see. I'm gonna ask you week 1, but yo, Mez, you watch that? He'll be like, huh?
Oh, it happened.
That was happening this week.
God, they just need to promote it better.
Yeah. Fishing mailed right there. Fishing mailed. All right. So Capcom Cup Grand Finals. Let's get into, or rather, top 16 day. Right. Let's just get into that. Because this is kind of what we'd all been waiting for, right? Who's going to be getting crowned that 1 million buckaroos, those bison dollars to take home. Some unbelievable matches. I want to say off the rip, the one I want to put out there might be, okay, there's like 2. Okay, actually, there's like 3 that I'm thinking of off the rip. First one that I remember like really just kind of, you ever get in those matches where when something happens, you instantly have to say something?
Yes.
Like, oh my God, like, oh no, don't block. Like you just instinctly had to yell at your TV monitor or whatever it is that you're watching it on. It was definitely the Fudo versus Menardi for me.
Yep.
That shit was tight. Yep. That shit was just like
super clenchy.
Yes. Fudo could not have threaded the needle any harder on that weird shit, bro. Drive rush to fucking level 2 to test Mena's reactions because he knew Mena kept checking the drive rush, and he says, fuck it, I'm just gonna go to level 2 and hit him several times with that. I was like, that is some genius shit there.
So real quick, Fudo's known for like the next layer of like offense. I remember in Street Fighter 5, he would throw out his crouch medium kick with Mika, get hit by Tokido's like Akuma or some Akuma player, and it would cause the Tatsu to go, and he would punish the Tatsu because of the confirm
and whiff.
Yeah. Disgusting. Yeah. And we didn't notice it until hours later when we're eating dinner.
But he thought about it within the 99-second match. Yeah, he's a nut. Those glasses are definitely thick.
Almost say is Fudo. To me, watching him play DJ was like watching him play Fei Long all over again. And I was like, damn, this sucks for whoever has to fight like
weird
this.
reversal Rekka type deal. Yeah, it was nutty. Fei Long with a freaking fireball to boot.
But I had to say, like,
he did not miss an anti-air.
No,
he did not miss an anti-air either.
And not just that, out of the cross-cut back heavy kicks that he was doing to cancel into like confirms,
even side switch.
When
he did the drive rush side switch into I gotta be honest, I don't care what anybody says. Like, look, Mena's a great player, but I think this kind of showed 100%. Like, this may not be the game he has the best footsies because maybe he just hasn't found the right character for that. But like watching him play Blanca, we're like, okay, he's gonna play gimmicky. It's not really like how we saw Problem X play, where Problem X was like really adjusting and utilizing all the frames from Blanca. And then we saw him switch to Luke, and it was just like, how many times can I reach for crouch medium punch because I don't know what else to press?
Oh my goodness.
It was so demoralizing. I was like, man, he made it out. I would have really liked to see like someone else in that pool, maybe whether it be like, I would have actually liked to see Kaba, because I think Kaba was playing some of his best game. It was a little, look, Fudo was going to be whoever's getting into that spot. All right. I'm just being honest. He was on something else, but yeah.
Luke Fighter 6 was fun to watch. But yeah, with that matchup, Mena RD did go two matches with Blanca until he eventually change to Luke, and just barely, like, bro, the Luke match alone was also just, it was 3-1. Don't get me wrong, but that was a very tight 3-1. That could have easily been a 3-2.
It just felt like it wasn't getting better.
I think,
it felt like it wasn't getting better.
So now imagine, right? Oh yeah. Now imagine after watching fucking Fudo just narrowly fucking knock through that, to then seeing him lose
3-0.
Following up 3 motherfucking to
my MVP. My MVP.
To another one that Static G will definitely fangirl over, a Rashid. Unfreaking believable. Like, I at that point I literally didn't know what to think. I was like, if Fudo drops Mena, I'm like, I think Fudo can win this whole fucking,
or come in second.
I was like, I mean, anyone could win it, but it was definitely much more like emphasized, like, yo, if you drop Mena, because Mena was obviously the one a lot of people were banking on, right? 2-time Capcom Cup world champ, going for the 3-peat, right? It was like, what could stop him? It was a Fudo, so it's like, oh wow, if he's gonna be the storm to stop it, I was like, there's nothing that's gonna prevent him from winning. And then here comes Gachikun with his Red Bull hat, like,
the thing for me was
turbulent win, bro.
I know we're like on Mena, but my thing is, like, I didn't really think Mena had a chance this time because the competition was so much stronger, and him getting out of, like, granted, his pool was quote unquote one of the harder pools, I agree, but he just didn't perform well. Like, there's a lot of people who didn't, don't get me wrong, and I'm saying to their highest standard, right? Don't take it wrong, these guys are at the highest of caliber, but watching like Nephew and his pool, I was like, man, Nephew just looks like he's struggling. Like, he doesn't look like himself. And even getting into top 16, he still looked like he struggled, but he's a lot cleaner, lot more knowledge. I guess he had more time to think about what he was going to do and who he was going to play. But I felt the same for Mena. I felt like kind of like Mena. I felt like Knuckle do. A lot of the US, or at least like anything remotely close to the US, it felt like our major players that we know and we love and we like just kind of struggle, and then all these other players were just playing 10 times better.
Here's the thing that I noticed is the sort of robotic feature of playing in that pressure, because you could see it in Dual Kevin's face. He was not ready for that pressure. Dude's been there before, and it's just I don't think America takes it. We of course take it seriously, but it's like, at the amount of level of focus that the other players had, if you look at I'm glad they had face cameras on, because man, they were not letting anything get to them. And like, whenever Gachikun was stuck in a level 3 sequence, his face was just like, how am I getting out of it? Like, what do I do? And he gets out of it. I'm like, dude, you're crazy. You just reverse 3-0'd from being down in a level 3. It's crazy.
I also love
It was insane.
I also love the representation from other regions. It was just so nice to see, whether you're from Canada, Mexico, like Kusanagi. Oh my God, was fun to watch. Little wild, okay, a lot of wild, but he was really fun to watch. And it felt like watching. I'll be honest, we kept saying it felt like watching a KOF player just play Street Fighter, because he was doing a lot of things like that were hyper aggressive. You'd see he jumps at weird points where you're like, that would be like a short hop in KOF. So like, there was really cool things and cool aspects, but I think for me, one of my favorite matchups, a little bit further into it, is Uma versus Lashar. Like, hands down, that probably might be my favorite match, because
that one was such a way to start winners semifinals. Honestly, I gotta hit him with the Shaq meme. I will apologize, Uma. I was not familiar with your game, sir. But Lashar was definitely just my favorite, like, when it came to just, and once again, I don't want to make it as like, oh, a no name, like this guy actually qualified out for the Asia East the Asia East qualifier for Capcom, like one of them. Like, he deserves to be there. He's not a unknown. It's just more unknown to me, right? Just not as familiar. So I was instantly enthralled. I was like, yo, this Chun-Li is disgusting. It is just like this. It's when those players alone are already making like the character seem way more unfair. Like that makes you want to play those characters. Like that's the feeling I was getting watching Star. It was just incredible. I was getting a lot of mileage from the pokes, from the conversions that Chun-Li can get from some of her normals. It was just like insane. So yeah, watching Lashar actually go up against Uma was also really, really good because you got Chun versus Jury. And then for Jury to just win, right? 3-0, man. Like Uma just like dropped them like a bad habit.
Keep in mind, I'm not going to say that Lashar was like losing flat out because there was so many good situational reads and so many good neutral confirms. I feel like people shy away from crouch medium kick for Chun-Li, and you could see Lashar did not care. Oh, I got the confirm. I'm playing like it's third strike. Doesn't matter. I get the hit. You still got to go to the corner. We got to deal with that situation. So I really felt like Lashar utilized every tool for Chun-Li, but Uma was just baiting out the standing medium kick, the DP. It was like watching Cammy versus Chun-Li in like
the dagger button. I forget what this is. What is this game where she's just like
medium
is this like stand
forward medium punch,
or
but
back.
stand jab is just as good. Like, did you see how much like traction he got off of how fast and far that button goes? Just like here, where stand back or forward medium punch goes farther, but still, stand medium punch is like a 4 frame button. Yeah,
that was just a really fun match for me to watch because, like, being someone who played Jury in Street Fighter 5 a little bit more in 4, and kind of not really feeling her too much in 6, but playing mostly Chun-Li in 6. It was really nice to see how the variables were there. I was like, oh man, either character could win depending how strong the player is. And Uma just blew my mind every time. Just confirms, setups, understanding of the meter. That was my personal win for the tournament.
I saw a lot more. I mean, we were already seeing a lot of burnout. Like people are I feel like we're seeing a trend more of like people being even less scared of burnout outside of like a check-based situation, which did happen in grand finals, by the way. Shout out to High Fight for that clip. But I think once we all saw that level 3 get used and get hit the burnout, I'm like, yo, this is a done match. Like players were not afraid. They were burning themselves out, no problem. It seems like we've accepted the fact that even if like you're in burnout, like you're not really, yes, you're at disadvantage in terms of like your blocking, right? Your frame, the frame data changes there, but offensively, I'm like, you're still doing what you gotta do. Like it's just weird. There's something mental about it that makes you want to be a little bit more conservative when you actually are playing and you don't have those resources. But we were seeing, at least I was noticing, it was happening more often and people were carrying less, which is just as scary. So yeah, man, like as we went on through the rest of the bracket, Gatsugun was on a tear, right? Like we said, beating Lashar 3-2 and moving his way as far as actually losers finals, where he ended up playing against Chris Wong, who previously did also lose to Uma in the winners finals, where Uma then just stayed in grand finals to actually play, and which ended up playing Chris Wong again. Gatsugun did leave at third place, and I don't know, actually, Static, if you could pull up again you pull up the prizing when you get the chance. Just trying to remember the actual payout, because I know the payout between first and second, we're talking $700,000. Yeah, and I think I remember, like, I'll even take fourth place. Fourth place, I think, was like 100,000. I was like, I'll take fourth place. That's fine. That's a fuck it.
Fifth one from the
it was fifth is like from 100 to 10, right, or something like that.
10, yep.
Yikes. Yeah. I'll take fourth place. I'll take fourth place any fucking day. That's fine. Fourth place is like first place. Just, you add it a couple more times. I will do whatever copium I need to suck on to make sure I'm good. As long as I get that $100,000 check, I'm Gucci for that. But fourth place getting 100. What third place get?
It was 300K and then 200K and then 100.
Okay, so yeah, so a milli, 300, 200, 1. All good payouts, all incredible, all worth the week you have to spend out in California. But at the end of the day, Uma from Taiwan, representing Taiwan, ended up being your Capcom Cup X champion, pulling away with that 1 milli. And like I said, that's before taxes. So make sure to pay your taxes, kids, if that applies to you. With jury, which also is another thing. Jury, the one did not expect jury to actually win the event. If you looked at the stats for the actual top 16, we had one each of Rashid, JP, Guile, Shunner. We had two of juries, two of DJs. We had three motherfucking Ken Masters, and then we had 5 whole Lukes. And we're talking this on mains. This is not including other characters as secondaries. So yeah, quite a bit of character scaling up there when it comes to those Lukes, those Kens and all. JPs were kind of getting whittled away in the group stage, so that's kind of why we didn't see as much representation of them past that. But yeah, jury, not bad. Of course, with Uma being one jury and the other one on the loser side, and technically in top 16 was of course Nephew. Only 2 representations of the jury mains there. Pretty insane to think that Evil Chunner is the one that ended up taking it.
I just wanted to give a highlight to Nephew because I thought he had one of the most interesting moments that was jaw-dropping, was fighting against Kuwano, where he did the level 1 super off of fireball reaction. Like, Kuwano was like, there's a fireball, and he did the level 1 super. And we were like, that hit? Instantly. What is this?
Yeah.
And then we thought it was just a fluke, right? Like, oh, maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. It just kind of might have hit. Okay. And then he did it a second time, and we were like, oh shit, Nephew just knows way more than we thought.
On purpose.
Like,
it's on purpose,
was he
bro.
holding this
purpose.
tech?
That was,
James Chen was
not a fluke.
That was one of those save it for nationals moments.
Oh yeah,
of course. There's always one of those.
If he didn't get sponsored, he was getting sponsored after that. That's all I could say. But I mean, like, other than that, I still think one of the most impressive people there that I felt like a lot of people undermined it was, yes, Gabe, including you, which was Safe. I thought Safe was actually really solid. He says he's wild. I thought he was actually
Canadian
really...
Ken.
Yo, man, he was eating maple syrup. All right, he was ready. My man was drizzling all over everybody with it. All right, because I'm gonna be honest.
Pause.
Nah, I'm not pausing on this. I'm not pausing on this. My man was going ham out there.
Drizzling over just going bacon, Canadian bacon on everyone.
Yeah, no turkey bacon out here. Nah.
No, it's Canadian bacon, dog. That's the same
thing.
All right, go on.
All I'm saying is
those high class jokes, Crash.
I get.
It hurts my brain.
I'm with the D-gens out here.
All I'm saying is I really thought that he performed very, very well throughout groups, even when he got into top 16. A lot of people didn't expect him to do as well, considering he seemed like the weaker Ken, but I thought he kind of leveled up mid tournament, and you kind of see it when he definitely fought Dual Kevin, and I felt like he just kind of had a lot of people's numbers, but unfortunately, kind of getting taken out there. But yeah, I would say if you like had anybody that you could highlight outside of the person you probably picked, who would it probably be? Because for me, it'd still probably be Safe or Kusanagi, hands down.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm definitely on the I was on the like I said, the Lesher squad there. I was kind of just hoping for Lesher through and through. I don't know, the gameplay just got me hooked. I think it was incredible. I think the player did an incredible job, so I was just like, yep, you could win, bud. I believe in you.
For me, I would say it was when I started watching, I was like, man, this Uma guy. First, I was like, man, okay, he won 3-0. That's kind of easy. Maybe that guy was kind of free, who he had in top 16 in winners. Then I saw he got another 3-0, and then another 3-0, and another 3-0. I'm like,
hold up.
This guy's getting somewhere. He knows what he's doing.
This guy?
Yeah.
This guy's real. We gotta get the fuck out of here.
If you guys stayed long enough to watch, Chris Wong and Uma both actually trained together.
We only found that out because they decided, for some reason, to interview second place as soon as he lost. He had no movement. He was just like, I trained with that guy.
Yes, can you please explain why you did this move to kind of kill $700,000 out of your pocket?
Am I crazy, or was that from the guy from Evo Japan? The guy who was interviewing it?
I don't know. I'd have to look again.
Okay, but anyway, go find your footage.
I'll have to double check.
The thing about that, those final interviews for me, is kind of encompasses the problem I had with the entire presentation. For a tournament that you're giving out. I mean, is $1 million the biggest prize pool we've seen?
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt.
You're giving out the biggest prize pool that we've seen. The production value wasn't really there. And I think those final interviews encompass that, especially the second place one, because they should have gave my man an interpreter. They should have, like, he could speak English. Don't get me wrong. If you were to have a face-to-face conversation with him, it's probably fine. But for that situation, they should have just let him speak his native language and then somebody interpret it kind of for you, because it just kind of, the way it came off, it went down hard. It didn't come down smooth at all. And I don't think that's his fault. I think it's like, because whatever the production company that handled Capcom Cup, I don't know what their name is. Whoever they were, I don't think like they didn't foresee that. They should have had interpreters ready on the go for those players who are not English speakers, which I wonder how many players that's gonna be in Street Fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, they should have had it. Yeah.
Had somebody for that. Yeah, I mean, true. They should have thought about that. I'm pretty sure it was like, I think 10-0 deals with like all Capcom's West Coast stuff usually. Like, I'm like, correct me if I'm wrong, if someone out there has that has the actual correct answer, but I'm like 90% sure it's
Alex
them.
Valle was there on the stage, so I don't know.
Yeah, if Alex Valle, if you're seeing Valle like 10-0 or level up, yeah, one of them is it. But yeah, that didn't help a lot. Yes, in terms of it being like a high, the production wise, like, I don't know if it's a budgetary thing, if it's like they just couldn't do it for the venue because they were just using the venue's PTZ that they had there because they had a PTZ. I don't know. That's definitely something you could skip. But also on the other side of it, if you're gonna interview second place, at least make it some sort of like, I don't want to make it seem like make fun of it or anything, but there needs to be at least an entertainment factor to it, because
bring a checkout or something.
Yeah, like give him something, give him a trophy.
Just
give him a trophy or something as well. Here's don't interview him and just because his brother's just looking down, he's mad, like he just lost $700,000.
Heart rate.
I want to hear y'all. I want everyone here who's listening right now. Just understand, you make a mistake. Say you drop your pen, you drop your pencil, you drop something, a combo, and now you have to think, I just lost $700,000.
Sir, is this brick yours?
I don't want to talk to nobody. Yeah, I don't want to talk to nobody. Fucking go away. People in tournaments will fucking like get at you, even if you're your friend. Just because they lost on stage, you leave them alone. It's like an unwritten rule. You know what it is. Especially the players. They're like, yo, so and so just lost. Don't talk to them for like the next 5 minutes. Leave them the fuck alone. Imagine being one of those, not being one of those, but like rather having the idea of and the pressure of $700,000 just got fucking ripped from your hands. Yeah, don't fucking talk to me. The Snoop Dogg video is the only thing that comes up in my mind. How the fuck you think I feel? What kind of dumbass question is that? I would have been real gangster with it.
I really think that the one part that kind of bothered me the most, and I do agree, was probably all of the small little weird like hot pagoda one like interviews. They were really like, I was like, what are we doing? Like, it didn't. Remember how I said like, there's times when we need to be esportsy, and then there's times where we like still need to stick to grassroots. No. I'm all for it.
Make that
I was all for it. Here's
the second place interviews don't pay for themselves.
Well, no. I felt like they should have, instead of doing like, they should have just had him enjoy his win, right? You could do your little whatever, like, oh, that was great. What are you gonna do with your money? Whatever, right? But I think they should have just brought them to the couch like they did the other people. I think it would have been more personable. I think they should take a lot of notes from other events, other gaming events, where you bring those players and you sit their ass down and have a conversation with them a little bit. You want more than fine. But I felt like sometimes we were doing these like interviews, it almost felt pre-recorded to the point where I was like, this kind of is like average at best. I don't know. Maybe it just, like Josh said, maybe it just needs better production. It just felt like something was missing.
The content was hit or miss. Like the first time around, I'm like, oh, that's cool. But the fact that they were doing it the entire time, I'm just like, it just, but you know what? At the same time, hey, if Pagoda wants to give everybody them spicy egg rolls, that works. If it funds these people's dreams, I'm all for it.
There's one more thing I'm gonna let you go.
God.
But this is nitpicky. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is not like a Cardinal Sin or anything like that. But those final seconds of the broadcast, of the live broadcast, before they kind of went into like that montage video, where they're zooming into the screen, and they left the winner. They left the winner on stage with the check, and he's just kind of looking back and forth. Like, where do I go now? I was like, oh no.
What's up?
Somebody
Where do I
direct
cash this check in?
Somebody direct this man somewhere, please.
Do I go to the Western Union?
You got $1 million.
Yeah.
He's still there to this day.
Yeah.
If I was there, as soon as I see him outside, I would be like, with some people just to fuck with him, be like, yo, he got $1 million. Jump him. just to fuck with him and see what would happen. I would make it a whole thing. But yeah, right.
What do you
so with that, Capcom Cup 10, the inaugural 10 is done, and behind us we have a champ, we have a check, and we have some patches that are going to be coming up, as well as a new character. But we do also have a break to get into, which we'll be right back after this. We're going to talk some Ed and some of Capcom's plans for his release real soon. Don't go nowhere. And we are back. Capcom Cup X. I'm so not going to miss having to say that so many times. I think I'm just going to have to call it CC. But actually, we did have some notes on CC 11. This was funny. This is something we were actually speculating about, right? When even the prize pool was first announced. Next year for Capcom 11 will be, for first place, will be $1 million once again. So it looks like they're not knocking down the prize pool, which is awesome. That was going to be my first sign to be like, that's not good. But it looks like they are keeping pretty, they're keeping to their guns right now. So respect to Capcom. Hopefully they can sell a lot more costume 4s and 5s and won't take 6 months to actually help fund it.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah, what's up?
They said, like, the first thing he said was that the prize pool was going to be closer to previous Capcom Cups.
Correct.
However, first prize will still get $1 million. I think that is of note. That is of note.
We're probably gonna drop the 200 to the 2 million in prize pools, but the fact that first place still gets $1 million is, like, I guess what they're trying to keep the base, because now it could be like, yo, you're not losing 700,000, now you're losing 850,000 if you fuck up this combo, right? 999,000, but yeah, if you want to take them for their word, yes, absolutely. They said it will kind of scale, but the fact that they're keeping it, maybe that first place, they're just kind of making it like, hey, you're either first place or you're in last place is just how it goes now, especially for the wallet. Then it is what it is. We're just gonna have to find out. But this, the inaugural 2 million prize pool might have only been a year one.
Yeah, when he came out on stage, and then the first thing is, like, when they translated that, he said that the prize pool was going to be closer to, like, previous Capcom Cups, and people started booing. I'm like, they did not bring the CEO of this company on this stage to tell you they're going to give you less money next year. They did not.
Nah.
They did not. I would have been flabbergasted. He was like, yeah, next year prize pool, $300,000. I'm like, oh man, but no,
that room would have cleared so
Everybody
quick.
would have killed each other.
There would have been a lot of thrown pagodas at this motherfucker. Like, you know what? You can eat these motherfuckers.
Part of me thought he looked at the translator like, what did you say to them? Like, did you say the right
man,
thing?
don't ever let it happen again.
Right.
Yeah.
If that man fucked up, that dude is so fucking fired. Wasn't Shin one of the translators too? Did you peep that? Shin ended up being one of the actual.
He was translated for first place, but couldn't translate for second place. So I don't know.
That's crazy.
All right, so that was a quick update that we did get at the very tail end. We didn't get any kind of fucking trailer, nothing, no surprise, no nothing. They stayed to their word on that tweet that kind of got a lot of people upset. But if you were keeping up on Twitter, though, you would have seen that, while at Capcom Cup throughout the whole week, they had additional demo stations there that included Ed being playable, as well as the upcoming patch. That was the big thing. So if you checked out any of the Twitter threads that were going on, people were just posting up and asking like, hey, want me to check this out? Where are the, the number one America's Most Wanted nerfs that we wanted? Things like Luke's crouching medium punch and stuff like Ken loops, stuff like that. And also, where are the buffs at? So we were already seeing some videos out there that included things like Jamie actually keeping his drinks after level 2 being activated was one of them. What's it called? The amnesia, which is JP's, like, his counter move is now less active. At least the OD version was. But yeah, and Ryu getting buffs as well. So from what we got early on, people are pretty stoked. But unfortunately, with that excitement, there was a little bit of a lowering of expectations, or rather of resetting of expectations that came from Capcom today. So Ed is going to be releasing tomorrow, which is on the 27th, which actually the date this podcast actually will be out live. Ed will be released, and Ed is going to be coming with some battle adjustments. But Capcom has taken it on to today to actually state, hey, he's coming with some balance changes for selected characters, for a specific certain amount of characters, probably like you said, your JPs, your Kens, whoever had an abnormal amount of being picked, high pick rate in Capcom Cup, probably was the last nail in the coffin for some of these. Don't get me wrong, they didn't just make the balance patch the day before, but this further kind of pushes it. Those characters are probably getting touched, but they did state the wider balance change that's going to affect the entire cast is coming at a later date. So we're actually going to be getting, I guess, a semi-patch balance patch here, but then we'll get our actual, I think, yearly patch that we're supposed to get once a year right now, maybe for Street Fighter, because I think that's what they're kind of stick with their schedule, because they're trying that out. I don't know if it's the right move, because it's only been what, 7 months, 8 months since Street Fighter came out, and people have been like, bro,
6.
we need to patch shit now. But it's you know, I don't know if just because some of the stuff that needs to get patching is just very egregious, and it's made a lot of characters just like but we're hoping this initial one will at least set the tone to where they're going to try to shape the meta. You know, maybe some characters, like I said, well, maybe we'll see more Ryus. Maybe we'll finally get the Jamie stock to go fucking up, because I think honestly Jamie's a really well designed Street Fighter character that I'm like, damn, bro, we just don't see this motherfucker ever.
His forward throw
at all
gets a drink too. You can choose to.
Oh yes, things like his forward throw. You can now sacrifice Oki for or set up for and mix for actual like a drink, right? So now you have another avenue to power up the character, because he's not a complete character until he hits level 4, right? That's how it kind of goes.
We don't even know if you can hold that.
There's gonna be a lot of eyes on this next balance patch.
We don't even know if you can hold it like.
Oh, you mean like
so? Like how he would do a drink and you could keep holding it to get more. So
you can actually continue stacking it. Yeah.
I mean,
we'll have to wait and see what adjustments they're gonna want to make.
I don't think so. Sort of like how Sweep gives you one if you do the if you sacrifice Oki. Sweep gives you the one, and then another overhead to kick, and then a drink, something like that. Or you can do level 1 into drink as well.
I think they're looking at the best interest for the game to not make the characters feel unplayable that are getting nerfed, but if they are. But I also feel like they're also looking at the game mechanics getting kind of destroyed in the process. So that's something I feel like people don't want to happen. If anything, they might be trying to build around maybe a new mechanic that might come down the road. I don't know, but it's more of like, I like that they're trying to be flexible and open-minded, right? Because that's what they've been doing since the day this game released. At least that's what it feels like.
Listen, though, all I gotta say is, if I don't have to see another Luke, I will not crack a tear. Okay, it's okay. Luke Fighter 6 had its time. Luke Fighter 5 had its time, and he's all the way in Luke Fighter 6 now. I'm cool. Luke can just take a seat, let someone else. Luke and Ken, just like let some other cats that aren't
Ed.
Ed's you guys like and enjoy some. Ed, whatever. Yeah, bring on the next blonde-haired guy that's gonna just body us. Go for it. All right, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. Like I said, Ed's gonna drop tomorrow. He's gonna be coming in with a slew of brand new stuff, and even some of the initial impressions from Ed have gotten people very, very curious. Things like his low flick is actually not a low, so I had to take a breather there when that was found out, because I was very scared. But apparently, he can kill you. He can like hit you for half life from mid screen. That's also gonna be interesting. But I also heard supposedly he was on handicap in some of that footage, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. In the meantime, though, that's really it for Street Fighter, man. They're closing a chapter on the first Capcom Cup, on the first Street Fighter 6 Capcom Cup, and now we're just starting the new the next season now for Street Fighter, in of course all the other events that we have coming up here on our road to EVO, including EVO Japan, which is going to be fun to watch, because it'll be not the first, but it'll be, I guess, the first major. I'm not sure if there's anything in March that's going to be showing off Street Fighter 6 beforehand, like in terms of post-patch. Hi.
TNS 9.
Just waving.
Which I'm going to next week. Okay. We'll have Ed legal. So 2B is legal and Ed is legal.
They're gonna let him legal.
He said everything's legal.
Wow. All right, shout outs to Tong.
Yeah, I know, right?
Shout outs to Tong and the crew. Let's jump into another topic here that has kind of been making its rounds, and for good reason, good and bad reason. Let's go with both. Good and interesting reasons. Let's go there. If you guys have not caught up yet, the game formerly known as projectl, developed by Riot Games, which is going to be the League of Legends League Fighter, has gotten a new update along with some new information from those Tom Cannon. Keep getting them confused as to which is which, and that included the name. Which we're going to talk about the name in a little bit. But let's actually jump into what we actually got in the update video, right? Because the name's its own conversation that we're going to have, and we're going to just fill up the whole time if we just talk about that. But there's some really good stuff that came out the video. So I don't know if you guys had a chance to really like replay the video multiple times to just kind of look for things, but I've got some things to pull that I really liked from the game itself. I also want to premise this. I have no additional knowledge, any way, shape, or form about this game. So, just putting it out there. There ain't nothing new coming out of here. Yeah, don't ask. I'm gonna just pull a Harada. Do not ask me for shit, because you will not get it. All right. So what else happened on the video? Some notes for me. Off the rip, character renders. They looked even more refined. It's kind of expected. They're spending more time on the game. The renders, the shading that they had from the initial one looks better. Especially some of the VFXs, right? Like Ari's aura and such. Like, if you remember the original one, we actually got to see her play a little bit more. It was kind of more of a placeholder-ish. It was a very simple animation. Now it's like, it's looking it's getting the League style when you see League graphics or virtual VFX or certain movesets and all. It's starting to get that signature animation in there. So it was really cool to see that on top of things like their faces are more expressive. I don't know if you guys remember that too. Yes. Like their faces were like, there was no like, expression. There was no emotion in anything that they did. There was just, kind of just slapped on because of the model, and they didn't have anything, I guess, built out for it. So they were stoic faces before. Now we're actually seeing more of that personality shine through. Darius looks very mean. Yasuo's got very cutting eyes, and Ari's making those come give me a hug faces, right? Stage.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to assume is Bilgewater, right? Like, yes. It should be Bilgewater. It only makes sense because we also got to see Alawi actually in the game render now. Before it was just an announcement like, hey, we're going to add her. She's going to be part of the game. And we saw some of those key animation pre-production details. We actually got to see her fully rendered in an intro. Looks great. And we got to see some of her movesets. We didn't get to see a whole lot, but we got to see some. And I don't know. Did you guys like how she ended up like playing? I didn't say playing, but how she looked, because I'm assuming she was gonna be like a heavy hitter, like a heavy kind of grappler. And I was kind of getting those vibes even from what they showed of her.
Definitely looked like a big body type of character, but also sort of swinging around type of I think grappler. Dare I say that looks like an air grab into a Broly type attack.
I would hope a little bit more puppet. I don't know if Mez is gonna agree with me there. Maybe puppet character because of how she played in League. I don't know if you remember or played her that much, where she actually summons tentacles and they kind of act independently, depend on what you do.
Yes. So I'll try not to be too critical because it's hard to translate a game like that into a fighting game and utilize everything, which is fair. I did wish I got to see more of her using her tentacles to kind of set up for stuff, because they didn't really show obviously too much, and they probably don't want to. But we saw a lot of her base strings. We saw her using some of her one of her actual skills, what she does, like it's a super, I guess, in this game, where she like kind of hits the ground, but then she turns it into grabbing you and then slamming you back and forth. So, and
that's how like the video ended.
Yeah, like she's what I expected. Everything I won't play. Okay. So, but I think it's just the truth. It's just the truth. I hate big bodies. I won't even play Darius, but I think like they're really strong characters from what we're seeing, and I love that their kits make sense for them, and it fits. If you are a League of Legends player, you can really see those moves and go, "Ooh, I know what that is. Ooh, I know what this is. Oh, that just looks like the third part of the auto attack." Like these things are there. It's
the whole first year of just like Easter eggs hidden in the fighting game are gonna be like, those videos are gonna populate YouTube like crazy for sure.
I hope the only thing I hope from seeing this video still, which I'm pretty sure they're gonna fix, is I love that they have an animation after they do an assist, but they cannot just teleport off the screen. That cannot happen. I know that's probably the makeup for not getting tag team comboed, but they need to do something where it makes the character run off or use something to get out. They're doing an animation just instantly teleporting out. Like they're not even on the screen anymore. They just flashed off. So I hope that's something that gets fixed.
Well, okay. I rebuttal that right off the rip because guess what? In League of Legends, what can you do when you hit spacebar? You teleport.
You can recall, but that takes time.
Recall, exactly.
And there's an animation for recalling.
Listen,
you see the beam.
They animate and then they teleport, dog. It don't matter. It's literally the same thing. I just put 2 and 2 together. It makes sense to me.
One thing you got to keep in mind with this game is that it will be casual friendly. So when you're making your critiques, keep that in mind. Like they want people who do not play fighting games to play this. And how demoralizing when you're switching characters. And oops, now I lost 2.
Hey man, learn how to block. Learn how to call in and assist properly.
Well, guess what? You shouldn't have called your character there. Tough fucking break. Take your lumps.
Your partner is gonna be the one who protects you, right? So you better have a partner that's played fighting games.
I hope you're really cool with your friend. Yeah,
no,
this might be the new era of Mario Kart where like you will friendships will fucking end in a fist fight. And if you say you never had a Mario Kart like a situation in Mario Kart where that's happened to you, you haven't really gamed. You're just not there yet.
Or you don't really have friends.
Oh damn.
Or crazy. You don't have fucking friends. In which case, I'm sorry. I'm so
and
sorry.
The internet exists.
Yeah, not real homies anyway. Yeah, like there's only a couple of things, a couple gamer like trials that like. That show your level. Like one, if you ever got stigmata in your hand from playing Mario Party, and another one is then also like y'all know what I'm talking about. You know, rotating the stick so much that Nintendo had to give you a glove because you were fucking burning your hand doing it.
That still didn't help.
And then the others, if you got into, it didn't. And then the Mario Kart. Fist fighting. That's pretty normal.
I will say, I think the game is heavily already catered to casual players from not just the IP alone, but the way the game's played. How simple it is. I don't want to see them devalue it to the point where it's like it's a fighting game, but it's just like every fucking arena fighting game that exists out there, right? Casuals love the arena fighting games, but how long do they last?
It's not an arena fighting game.
I'm comparing it.
But people like to put that label next to it, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't want to see people. Yeah, I don't want to see people treat it as like it's a very casual game. So it loses a lot of the value of what a fighting game is. And the only people who can bring it out is us, right? Fighting game competitive players, stuff like that. I'm just saying I love that it has the casual aspect. Dragon Ball tried to do that casual aspect, but they kept a lot of the hardcore fighting game aspect, right? So a lot of people who were casual still played it with their friends. I just don't want to see it lose the value of just being still a fighting game, right? I know we want to let casuals in. I'm totally for it, but don't take away what a fighting game is. You still need to learn. You still need to like practice things.
Until we get our hands on the actual final deployment on it, we'll see how those mechanics actually end up being. But just wanted to close this out on the other things that I did find out on the trailer. I don't know if y'all listened to this or actually like no pun intended there. Did y'all like peep the music like at all?
Yes.
The music was actually pretty fucking fire. Okay, I was like, I didn't know if anyone. I thought I was alone. I was like, yo, I had to listen. I was like, yo, the music is actually dope. Which kind of, I didn't know this was a thing even when I fucking joined the company. But apparently, people joke that Riot is a music company that just happens to do other things.
Why is it
the fact that they do all these, virtual bands? They have all these soundtracks, all this stuff. They just also happen to do games. And I was like, oh, that's just a funny joke. I'm like, no, okay, I can see it.
You kind of get like that Marvel vibe, like that Marvel 2 vibe, like the jazzy scene, like that feel.
A little
I'm kind of getting that vibe, a little vibe. Where I'm like, ooh, at least that feel where you first heard the song, you were like, oh shit, if this had lyrics, I'm singing it, even if it's like two words.
All I had to, if there's any song that just says "take you for a ride" at some point, I'll be like, God damn it, you sons of bitches, you did it. But yeah, the music was really good. It was just something. It was an afterthought after I watched it, maybe for like the third time, just looking at it and reviewing it. It hit me. I was like, damn, this is kind of fire. So I'm looking forward to actually all the dope tracks that we're gonna end up getting for all of the characters, of course. And one final note on it, obviously, is the release. Two things. The release, yes, 2025. We don't know when. It could literally be December 2025, and they will still be correct, and we won't be able to tell them that they're wrong. Or two. Is the release consoles, or rather the platforms, PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC. I am very surprised that we don't have a Switch port. I would think due to the way it looks, and no, listen, I'm surprised there isn't a Switch port, but maybe because maybe Nintendo might be working on a Switch 2, yes or no, allegations for like the 50th time. And they're just gonna wait for a delayed release on something like a Switch, and they're just hitting the major platforms first. That's fine. But I think this game actually would work very well on a Switch port if the Switch can play it correctly, right? I will put that into in the asterisk there, as long as the Switch can actually play that full 60 and you're not doing something weird about the the presentation itself. I could see this game living on a Switch and actually doing very well, to be honest. I think that's a market that if they really want to cater to casuals, we're talking about the console that is in most people's homes, right? Whether it's kids or not. And remember, League of Legends is a free game, right? What are the chances that same kid that mom and dad say, hey, go play League of Legends because it's free, and then actually get the game for the Switch? Kind of crosses over a little bit. Makes sense to me. But that might be something for the down the line.
Well, just tying in with that, would you be opposed to them also doing maybe a mobile version that kind of can still connect to some degree? Because it's just an idea. Because I mean, Skullgirls got really well off of that, but I feel like that's something accessible nowadays.
The Skullgirls mobile game is not the Skullgirls game. You know that, right? It's different.
Yeah, it's different. But I'm saying like. Yeah. The concept, how far mobile games have come, I wouldn't see why we couldn't, even if it's just their own server, it's still just a playable version of it, right? Because like they did it with Street Fighter 4 originally for like the DS, and then they switched it to the they did it for iOS. That was terrible for
the
iOS.
most broken version of Guile like ever recorded in the history of mankind, where you didn't have to charge a flash kick or anything, you just had to press a button. That was insane. I don't know. Maybe we'll just have to see what the thoughts are on it. But I was very surprised with no Switch port off the rip. But at the same time, it could be something they'll develop later. We've seen it with other developers as well. Doesn't always turn out the greatest, but this game, though it looks great, doesn't seem like it's super demanding. It's not. This isn't a super hyper realistic NRS game, right, where you can literally see the sweat glands on someone's face, from the battle damage or anything like that. Like, it's not that, right? And we've seen what happens when you try to add that to the Switch, and what happens and what you get. The Johnny Cage, the Johnny Cage pictures alone still haunt my dreams. So with that, I mean, that's what went down on the trailer. So the biggest thing to take away, right, that I felt like, that definitely overshadowed what information we got, which was, of course, that they're moving forward with a lot of feedback that they want, maybe even a play test sometime this year, and more information, is, of course, the name. projectl, formerly projectl, now got an official name of 2XKO. It's not in the game. I can't not say that. But yeah, 2XKO, right? Kind of a very divided group of people. I say divided, but I want to say it's like probably 70-30.
I was gonna say, it's just, I don't think there's much division going on here. We're all kind of on the same page.
Listen, I'm just trying to give a little bit of the benefit of that, because I'm hearing some, there are some arguments, and I get it, but I just don't think it's, I have an overall idea of what will happen, but let's get into it. So 2XKO is the name of the game. They even outright stated in the video, like, hey, we've worked really hard on this. projectl will now be moving to that. It's no different when they just changed their names, right? Project K was what eventually became Valorant, right? And Project A, I believe, was either Legends of Runeterra or it's the MMORPG that they've been working on for like ever. Anyway, projectl, now 2XKO. I was like, what in the hell is this name at first? And then I realized when I read it, I'm like, oh, it's literally the purpose of the game. 2 characters, it's crossing over, it's tag team based, and your objective is to knock them out, right? KO. 2X knockout, 2XKO. Okay, cool. My biggest gripe here, which, once again, I had nothing to do with this, so don't fucking look for me, is if we're building on a fighting game with an incredibly popular IP, right? Like League of Legends, that now has transcended past just the games, right? Now it's in media, right? Netflix with the show and Arcane and all. Now it's hitting on other levels. Why League of Legends is not attached in any way, shape, or form? Because if I told anybody about this game, they would have no fucking clue from the name of it. I know there's some arguments where like, oh, well, there's other crazy fighting games that have crazy names. Guilty Gear plus Accent Core plus R, Reload, whatever. The name Guilty Gear is in there, right? Like that's the brand, like it's in there. Even though we call it plus R or whatever, we know it's Guilty Gear. You could say it for Street Fighter. You could say it for even for games that people aren't I would say not people aren't interested, but maybe present company in here might have some shit to say about it. Under Night, right? Under Night is literally the name of the brand. Sure, it's got all the extra stuff in birth. What is it? I don't even know what the hell it is. Sis Celeste, whatever the hell it's called. Don't matter. The name Under Night's in there.
Me too.
Right? Like there's the brand.
Yeah.
It could have, like, League of Legends not being attached, I feel is a misstep, but I'll say why I think it won't matter in a little bit. But I want to hear what your guys' thoughts on the name itself. Do you think it was clever enough? Do you feel like they really should have just named it anything else? Should have just kept it Project L. I thought it was going to be something like Project Lane or something, right? Like even something to relate to League of Legends in some way, shape, or form to kind of at least connect the brands together, connect the IP to a fighting game.
Something Rift? Like, I mean...
Yeah, Wild Rift already did its thing, right? Wild Rift is their insanely popular mobile League of Legends, right? They just called it Wild Rift, but Rift, right? There's a component to it.
It's so weird because it feels like they want to detach themselves from the title and the name of League of Legends, but then it's like your whole IP is League of Legends. How do you do that?
Exactly.
It just doesn't
literally
register.
in my that was exactly in my notes. I was like, maybe they wanted to make it stand on its own. I'm like, if you wanted to stand on its own, don't include League of Legends IPs in it. Just make it all original. Guess what, Cannon Brothers? Resurrect all your Rising Thunder characters. Those were all original, right? If you wanted to do it, you could have just done that.
I'm going to say that's not fair. Okay? And the reason
why is that not fair?
That's not fair because one, obviously, well, nobody here knows all the plans that like Riot has going forward with their games and releases and stuff like that, right? The reason they could have decided not to make it a league-based name is because they want to encompass all their like Riot IPs into it. They want to leave that kind of open. So right now, the biggest IP is League of Legends. So that's why we're seeing all League characters. But what if they want to start putting Valorant characters in there? What if there are other IPs that they're currently working on that aren't League-based, that aren't Valorant-based, that they want to leave the door open for that as well? Like Blizzard did not call Heroes of the Storm World of Warcraft MOBA. You know, I'm being lazy here, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Heroes of the Storm makes sense. Okay, I see your point. And I raise you this. Mm-hmm. Is it really that effective, or is it really that much of a problem? And does it really close those doors when we have literal games like Tekken 8 that have 4 other IPs from different other fucking games in it, and no one seems to have a problem with it? Or King of Fighters, who has literally WWE, Guilty Gear, Street Fighter, Tekken, all in there, open doors to collaborate and have characters crossed over, and no one seems to have given a shit about the title being any different.
Yes, it does matter, because while Tekken 7 had Akuma in it, right? I don't think any Street Fighter players are gonna go play it just because Akuma's there. If they play Tekken 7, it's because they like Tekken, you know? And I guess the main point I'm trying to make is there are people who will not touch a League property. If it says League of, they don't want anything to do with it. They don't.
That's kind of true.
Then as popular as the IP is, for some people, it's poison. So if you want to leave that completely open, you don't mention League of Legends.
So you don't want to trick them at the title. You want to trick them when they get to the character select screen. They're like, oh, what the? And they're like, oh, what the fuck? And they're like, already had you spend the money on the bundle. Gotcha, bitch. I already got your money.
I'm gonna tell you now, they're not even trying to trick you there. They're trying to trick you when they have to put you with a partner that's random and you can talk.
The thing is, like, they don't have to trick you. They just want you to listen, right?
Like they want you to give it a shot.
For example, when I'm looking at my Google now and I'm scrolling through and I see something that says World of Warcraft, I just I just straight scroll through it, just skip it. But what if it's actually something I want to see? What if World of Warcraft made a fighting game or something like that? Like as soon as I see it, I'm like boring and I move. You know, don't tell that to the host of the WoW shows that I produce.
Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, I just kind of move on. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, no, like they you got to keep in mind, like, they really do, like, as bad as it sounds, they do pay people a lot of money to kind of process this stuff and analyze these things. So there's got to be a reason. And so that's why I'm just kind of thinking, like, if they went this far off, and don't get me wrong, I still don't like the name. We'll get into that. But, like, if they went this far off from, they made this amount of effort to not call it League of something, I think it's because they have other plans and they wanted to encompass all Riot without
boxing themselves in.
Exactly. Without making players like me who just look at the first couple of letters like, nope, they want to make sure you look at it, So that's what I think.
I was gonna say, with you saying that, now that I think about it, what if they did this all because they knew we would create an uproar that it's not called something with League of Legends, and then on top of that, the ones that they know they kind of like almost do an algorithm thing where they're like, okay, how many people really want it to be like this League of Legends thing, right? And then they're like, how many people would just be like, it's all right, it's an okay name, or it's just like, just name the shit something completely different, right? Like, I think them looking at that, they could just be like, guys, we got it, we got them talking about it, now it's spreading like wildfire. It doesn't even matter. It's not technically bad publicity, it's just, hey, we chose a name, what do you think? Because they said we're gonna reveal the name. What do you think?
It's not also unheard of to have developers troll the internet for that. Ed Boon has been a perfect example of that for years. Harada as well. It can be looked at as a marketing plan and stunt to actually get what we're doing, right? To get people talking about it and explaining and keeping it hype, right? Keeping the IP, in people's minds. My big thing that really revolves on it afterwards is this. Once again, not confirmed nor denied, but I think the name still will actually change on final deployment. I think because the name is okay in the sense of like, yes, it explains what it is, but I think they can't be not self-aware enough to know that when your customer base kind of has a, as much as you pay people to kind of figure this stuff out, like Greg, how they say that they're definitely invested in this, there's no way they're not also ignoring the backlash from it either, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my part of it is like, okay, maybe they're also expecting it, and then the idea is that the plan is to kind of keep it hot, and then as a sign of maybe, hey, the game's gold, it's about to go out, and for it being gold, we're also gonna name it something new because now it's ascended, it's leveled up into this other thing, and now it is bam, whatever to tie it together, and it's like, oh, it was all a plan for it, right? Can I see that happening? Maybe.
I'm gonna say my one last piece that I think is truly, like, it just hit me. This was probably the most devious shit they've ever done. Don't name it anything League of Legends based. We already know it has League of Legends characters. So when random Joe Schmo walks over, yo, what's 2XKO? Oh, you don't know what 2XKO is? Yo, it's a League of Legends fighting game. Oh, what's League? Or, oh, there's a League fighting game? Let me go hop on.
Yes, I've been living under my rock for the past 15 years.
I was going to say,
Mezzo.
No, but like, think about it. Though.
By the way, there's this thing called the internet, and there's Wi-Fi.
But it's not about selling. It's not about selling necessarily League of Legends itself. I always like to say League of Legends is like crack, right? Or any type of drug that's really, really bad. Heroin, right? It's one of those things where all you need to do is get... No, it's true. I've played it for one too many years. All you have to do is get a taste of it. All you need to do is get a taste of it, right? So their goal is maybe not necessarily to just, like, obviously promote the fighting game, but as soon as you say the words League of Legends, you're either gonna garner people who say, oh man, I would never touch League of Legends, right? But they're like, it's a fighting game. Let me try it. And then they fall in love with the character, and the next thing you know, they're playing League of Legends. You see the correlation, and then they're stuck on League of Legends. They're not playing a fighting game anymore.
There's always going to be that correlation between the two, because like that's what the two games have in common is the characters, which is what people like. People like the lore, the designs, maybe their kits, whatever. And the more when they like those kinds of characters, especially like coming from like the League side, right? I know a lot of people made a lot of jokes about like, oh, League of Legends players don't know what they're going to get into. Like, FGC was like, oh, we're going to stomp on them. I'm like, bro, they are cut from the same cloth. They are learning combos. There's execution. There is matchups. There is everything, right? The difference here now is just like these characters that have such weight to them, have such fans to them and followings that now if you put them in a fighting game, they will also garner that same following. Like a Darius main in League is going to play Darius in fucking 2XKO. That was really hard to fucking say. I just wanted to let y'all know that was really difficult for me to do because I had to think about it.
There are definitely people who like characters so much that they'll just follow them or play them. Like, take Overwatch, for example. There's a ton of people.
I was like, D.Va's a perfect example.
Exactly. There's tons of people who do not play shooters, never played shooters, but they like the design of Mercy. They like the design of D.Va. And so they got in there and they played the game.
The chair. They got the headset.
Sounds like there's no Tracer chair, so I just don't care, you know. We've already said that. If it's not Tracer, it ain't anything.
I just want to touch on what Dre said about them. You think they're going to change the name, or there's a chance they'll change the name. I disagree because, and I'm thinking about from a money perspective. They coming up with the name. When you run a business like that, everything costs money. Coming up with that name cost them a good amount of money. Market research of the name cost them a bunch of money.
They had to edit each video title.
Editing each video and
the logo design cost money. The logo, the design around the logo, like the entire aesthetic that they've now built around the game, that all costs money, you know? And so depending on how much money they've spent, they may be very, very resistant to change the name, especially because they're already drumming up their marketing plans. They do that stuff 6 months out, a year out, maybe more. So they're already moving on this. This train is already going. If they do anything, I think it may be to change the pronunciation of the game. Right now they're calling it 2XKO. I think there's a real chance they start calling it double KO and just keep it as the logo itself, 2XKO. I think they may be willing to change to saying on stream, and when you do this at tournaments, this is double KO. I think they might be willing to do that versus 2XKO. But I think that that branding, I guess the branding 2XKO, I think that's here to stay.
It's already failed.
It's bad because I actually kind of might have to.
I'm just start calling it DK then.
No, but think about it though.
2XKO, double KO. I'm just call it DK, and then people are gonna get confused like Smash. But nah, bro.
Well, remember
it's gonna get so confusing so quick.
Well, remember I asked you before. I said for 2XKO because I saw there's some random bullshit fan one going around 2XKO Intel, and it kind of hit me. I was like, what if they did an Intel Open, right? Wouldn't that just kind of actually start rolling off the tongue? It becomes very easy, whether it be like you said, double KO Intel Open or 2XKO Intel Open, stuff like that makes more sense than saying projectl Intel Open. It seems more feasible because it's shorter, but at the same time, I also think about what if they had to make another version of the game, right? Like an ultra version.
Then we go 3X.
I mean, but it's
cool. We'll just go up the numbers.
But I'm thinking it makes more sense, right? We're talking about like Josh said, and this is what's kind of making me lean towards it more. I'm like, man, they really do have a lot of flexibility, almost too much flexibility, to the point where if we don't keep calling it Project L, which they keep saying formerly Project L, right? They have it even written in there. It's like they're giving us the ability to kind of say it ourselves. We have multiple names, but this is just a definitive name. We're going to be able to say whatever we want at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Unless we're contracted,
for sure.
Blizzard makes you say it exactly.
Contract us, please.
I say 2XKO, formerly known as Project L. 2XKO.
I love 2XKO.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. Yeah. When I'm tired, I like to reach for 2XKO. So basically that's been making its rounds. The name is I love Twitter I hate Twitter for a lot of things, but I also love Twitter for a lot of things, which includes obviously the reactions, people calling it, is it R2D2, the initial reactions with just how they're trying to compare it with other very interesting things like, it's what Elon Musk would name their child. This, that, and the other. It's been great. I love the reaction. It's just hilarious. It's helped me, laugh from a nice, healthy place. But it might be here to stay. It might not. I'm still not entirely convinced. Once again, I don't know anything extra, I swear. But we're just gonna have to wait and see as to how it proceeds. If that marketing ship really has sailed and they are staying the course, or maybe they'll give us something else in the future. But in the meantime, though, We are looking forward to some more news. We're looking forward to possible game tests. Actually, you can sign up right now for play tests. So if you haven't already, make sure to for the alpha, super alpha, extra beta, whatever it is. You can sign up for it right now on 2xko.riotgames.com. Go check that out. You can sign up for it. It's at the bottom right there. Sign up for play tests. And so this 2025 is the year. We don't know when, but it is the year. Which begs the question, has this been the longest developing fighting game ever? Because this came across because I was doing some research and someone made a comment about it. Like Radiant Entertainment, which was formerly the Cannon Brothers game development company, when they got bought out, that was like 2016. And I'm under the assumption they've been working on it since. But I know the game also has made its shift from being single, like a 1v1 to a 2v2 tag. So not to say that scraps everything, but that does change, kind of sets the development cycle back quite a bit when you're designing for that versus a traditional 1v1. This actually might be the longest one because we're at 2024. Last I checked. Let me see. Yep, 2024. So 8 years, I want to say, if we put a total right now, 8 years on the map. I can't think of really any fighting game off the top of my head that's taken 8 years to develop.
Usually fighting games wouldn't they're usually approved because they don't take that much time, relatively speaking, to make.
Yeah.
And they don't cost as much, relatively
AAA
speaking.
Games and such.
Exactly, to make. You're talking 8-9 years. We're talking BioShock Infinite. We're talking Cyberpunk 2077. We're talking Duke Nukem Forever. Two of those games didn't come out great, but
Final Fantasy
one did.
Spoilers. It wasn't Duke Nukem. And with that, that's gonna wrap us up this week on Double Tap. I want to say I appreciate you guys for hanging out with us for another episode. Capcom Cup, new Ed in the horizon to drop some balance patches, and of course 2xKO. Still really hard to say. But we'll see if that changes up in the future. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If you haven't already, make sure to follow the show at DoubleTapFGC on all social media platforms. That is on your Twitters. That is, of course, on YouTube. We dropped some shorts on there and some videos as well when we get a chance to. But make sure to follow my awesome host here. We've got Static Gorilla, of course, at Static Gorilla on all social media platforms. He's going to be over at TNS9. Make sure to go root for him there when he gets the chance to go and show off his Marvel skills. I'm assuming you're doing Marvel or you're doing Marvel and Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Okay, he's doing both. He's going to show everyone how Chun-Li is supposed to be played. And of course, we've got Meza. And he's also going to do Skull Infinite that everyone tweeted him about. He confirmed it. He'll do it even if it's unpractical. Nope. And then we've got Meza over here. Make sure to follow Meza at MezaFGC as well on all social media platforms. Whether it's on back on Twitch.
Still on Twitch. We're on Twitch. Right? No more.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Twitch, Twitter, all that good stuff. Go check out what he's doing, what communities he's supporting, what he's got on his back, and maybe the occasional fighting game when he's feeling a little saucy. Hit me up, of course, at CrashTagVS. Normally, you'll see me on the Double Tap FGC Twitter page, but you can go see what's up there. Also, make sure to follow our awesome producer, at Jostradamus. He's got some hot takes, but most of the time, due to his name, his hot takes are pretty good. Might want to go check him out. Industry guy. He's been in the game for too long. He's got stories to tell for days. But yeah. If you haven't already as well, make sure to drop a feedback. Sorry, I tried to say follow, but it's feedback. You can hit us up with any feedback on your podcast platform of choice. We do love hearing any feedback. Hit us up with a 1-star or a 5-star review. It all helps. We want to hear from you guys, what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show. Let us know. I swear I could take it. That last 1-star didn't hurt that bad. It's all good though. And of course, you guys can check us out on Discord. All links for our social medias and of course on our Discord are on doubletap.gg. Go check it out there. The latest episode also gets posted up there. Once again, if you guys want to check out some timestamps, make sure to check the timestamps for your specific topics you want to listen here on the show. We'll be live, we'll have a new episode next week for you guys as well to cover everything else that goes on here in the fighting game community. I've been Crash. That's been Meza. Hold on. Yeah, that's been Meza. That's been Static. That's been Ja. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.